In my village, the roads were just red dirt, dusty, stubborn, and everywhere. My name is Jamiama, and my story begins on those roads. We had little, but I had curiosity. A problem for my mother, who'd scold, "Jamiama, stop asking so many questions." But I couldn't help it. I wanted to know how things worked, especially fire. I was drawn to old man Kofi's forge, where he hammered metal into tools. To me, he was a magician, turning nothing into something. One day, a trader passed through, wearing a gold ring that shone like a captured star. "This is gold," he said, "melted and shaped by fire." That was the moment. I didn't just want to be a magician, I wanted to be a goldsmith. But we had no gold, no goldsmiths, just dirt and goats. Telling my family was like saying I wanted to be king of a country that didn't exist. "Be realistic," my uncle said, "the goats need you." But the dream was planted, a tiny seed in the red dirt of my heart. I knew my path wouldn't be paved with gold. I'd have to find the gold myself and learn how to melt it. The sound of Kofi's hammer, clang, 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 became the rhythm of my own dream. I watched, I wondered, and I waited for my chance. The fire called to me, promising change. I was just a boy chasing fire, but I was ready to run. My journey had begun, and I would not turn back. Even if the world laughed, I would chase the spark. Because sometimes, the dirt road is the only way to gold. How does a boy with no teacher and no gold learn to be a goldsmith? Badly at first. My workshop was a secret spot behind our hut, my tools just rocks and hope. I scavenged metal scraps, bent nails, broken tin, a discarded spoon. My first attempts were disasters. Metal turned black, brittle, or melted into lumps. The village kids laughed. "Jamiama, the blacksmith of trash!" Their words burned hotter than my fire. But every failure taught me, different metals, different heats. You can't just hit metal, you have to persuade it. Failure was my teacher, strict, relentless, but effective. Slowly I learned to control the fire, to coax metal into shape. One day, I melted brass buttons into a clumsy ring. Ugly, but mine. I wasn't just the blacksmith of trash anymore. I was Jamiama the Goldsmith, at least in my own heart. Years passed. My skills grew, but so did my pile of unsold creations. I saved every coin, bought scraps of silver and brass, sometimes a sliver of gold. My designs were different, shaped by baobab branches, cracked earth, weaver bird nests. In the market, people glanced and walked on. "What is this?" they'd ask, frowning at a seed pod pendant. "It's a promise," I'd say. But they wanted simple circles, not stories. Doubt weighed heavy. Even my family urged me to make what people wanted. "Be practical," my uncle said. "Make simple rings, you need to eat." But the fire didn't care about tradition. The metal only cared about vision. I kept creating even when no one understood. Some days I nearly gave up. But the fire always called me back. My jewelry was my language, even if no one was listening. I was forging more than metal, I was forging myself. The world wanted safe, I wanted meaning. So I kept going, because the only way to be heard was to keep speaking, and the fire never stopped listening. Years of shouting in the market and no one heard me. Then a whisper on a glowing screen changed everything. My cousin David returned from the city with a smartphone, his magic rectangle. He saw art in my work, not just strange shapes. "People in the city would love this," he said, snapping photos of my jewelry in perfect light. He posted them online, social media he called it. I doubted it would matter. For a week nothing happened. Then David ran to me waving his phone. "Look!" comments from strangers. "Stunning! Where can I buy this?" My heart pounded. Clang, clang, clang. People far away saw what those nearby never did. The whisper had started. Messages turned into dozens, then hundreds. They wanted to know the stories behind my designs. The world, it turned out, was ready to listen. My fire had found a new fuel. Suddenly, my language was being heard. The world was whispering back. The first real order came from London. A woman wanted 10 seed pod necklaces for her boutique. The money was more than I'd made in 6 months. Suddenly, I had new problems. How do you ship to London from a village with no post office? How do you get paid? David and I became a team. He handled the internet, I handled the fire. We traveled to the city, set up a bank account, found a shipping office. The clerk looked at me like it was impossible, but we did it. The woman posted my necklaces in her shop, telling my story. That post was a spark. Orders poured in from New York, Tokyo, Paris. My life changed overnight, but my work didn't. I was still in my small workshop, hands calloused, fire burning. The world wanted my jewelry and I was terrified I couldn't keep up, but every hammer strike was a promise kept. The sound of my work was no longer just for me, it was for the world. With success came choices. I could have left the village, but how could I leave my roots? The baobab, the cracked earth, these inspired my art. So I stayed and built a new workshop. Strong bricks, solid roof, real tools. But I built it big for more than just me. I started an apprenticeship program for the village's curious children. You are like this metal, I told them. Stubborn, but with something beautiful inside. I taught them what failure had taught me. The sound of hammering became a chorus. Clang, 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 clang. The workshop became the village's new heart. It brought jobs, purpose, hope. Money from my sales paved roads, dug wells, fixed the school roof. I didn't just want to be a success from my village. I wanted to be a success for my village. The greatest beauty wasn't in the gold I shaped, but in the lives reshaped alongside it. The fire that changed my life now changed others. My dream had become a community's future. The dirt road was no longer just mine, it belonged to all of us, and it was paved with hope. Today I'm not just Jamiama the boy from the dirt roads, I'm Jamiama the Goldsmith. My name is known far away, but here I'm just Jamiama. I still walk the red dirt roads, now smoother with my apprentices. The fire in my workshop burns for many hands. My story is told as one of success, but the real story is about the power of a stubborn dream. Failure wasn't my enemy, it was my teacher. My greatest creation isn't a necklace or ring, but the workshop, the chorus of hammers, the spark in a young apprentice's eyes. Where you start doesn't decide where you go. The most valuable materials aren't gold or silver, but resilience and imagination. If you have a dream, protect it. Feed it with hard work, let failure guide you. Build something, anything. Turn your dirt road into your own path. The most beautiful things aren't found, they're forged in fire.